Staying in the U.S., the House of Representatives approved a resolution on Tuesday holding Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress. Meadows served as White House Chief of Staff for former President Donald Trump, and he has refused to testify before the congressional panel investigating the January 6th assault on the Capitol. Well, for the latest, we cross live to our correspondent in Washington, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, Mark Meadows found in contempt of Congress. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the House has now voted to refer him for a contempt of Congress. This is because Mark Meadows refused to come and testify in front of that January 6th committee despite a subpoena. Now, Mark Meadows did cooperate initially with that January 6th committee by handing over a lot of information through text, through emails, a lot of information to that January 6th committee. But when the January 6th committee decided that they wanted to ask him questions about that information that he handed over, Mark Meadows refused to show up for that testimony, instead suing the January 6th committee to try to determine whether he could actually claim executive privilege, saying that his conversations with the former president, Donald Trump, were protected by that executive privilege. Now that this vote has happened, what happens next? Well, this is simply a sort of recommendation, a referral to the Department of Justice that has the final say in actually charging Mark Meadows with criminal contempt of Congress. That has been done once. Remember, Steve Bannon, the former advisor to Donald Trump, he was also held in contempt by the House. That was transferred to the Department of Justice, which then decided to charge him with 2 counts of criminal contempt. But the goal of the January 6th committee is to show that they will go after these people who refuse to show up for their testimonies. The problem is those Republicans, at least Bannon and Meadows, they're playing the clock because Bannon, for example, his court date set for July 2022. The Republicans know that the midterms are coming up, and they're counting on the Republicans possibly winning back the House and getting rid of that January 6th committee to not show up for these testimonies and to simply just try to run out the clock.
And as you mentioned, Meadows might not be willing to answer the lawmakers' questions in person regarding January 6th, but the information he has turned over has shed new light on the events of that day. What have we learned there?
Yes, a lot of texts and emails on 2 very important parts. Some of them were on January 6th specifically. Texts by GOP lawmakers, by Fox News personalities, even by Don Jr., Donald Trump's son. All these texts asking Mark Meadows to go and talk to the president, to ask Donald Trump to come out in public and tell his people to stop, to leave the Capitol, and to stop the violence. That shows that these Republicans knew what was going on was wrong. Those Republicans, those Fox News personalities today saying different things in public. The other very important part is the lead up to January 6th. Some text messages coming out of GOP lawmakers texting with Mark Meadows about trying to overturn that electoral college vote, overturn the results of the elections. We don't have the names yet, but the January 6th committee is saying that they will soon decide on whether and when to release those names.